Have you ever paused on a quiet afternoon and asked yourself whether moving into a nursing home would truly make life easier or quietly take something precious away? From the outside, these communities can look like comfortable havens offering meals, medicine, and company. Yet behind the welcoming brochures lie hidden trade-offs that affect everything from your freedom to your health. Today, I'm sharing what I've learned over 86 years. 5 dangers that surprised me after I signed the paperwork. Listening now could spare you costly mistakes and help you stay in charge of the life you love. Let's uncover them together today. Hidden Danger 1. Loss of personal independence. When I first moved in, I imagined a hotel-style life where someone else took care of the chores while I chased my hobbies. The reality? A buzzing bell at 6:30 announced breakfast. And if you missed it, staff politely but firmly wrote your name on a list. After decades of rising when my eyes opened naturally, suddenly my day was dictated by a schedule pinned beside the elevator. Even small freedoms vanished. Want to walk outside after dinner? You have to sign out, wait for an aide, and be back before the doors lock at 8. My neighbor, Doris, an avid birdwatcher, once missed the nightly cutoff because the finches were singing near the pond. She returned to find the entrance bolted and spent an anxious hour knocking while security located a supervisor with a key card. That night, she murmured, "I feel like a schoolgirl under curfew, not a grandmother of 4." I realized then that independence is not measured by how many tasks others perform for you, but by how many choices remain in your own hands. So before signing any contract, walk the halls at different hours, ask current residents about curfew rules, and picture how each policy would feel on an ordinary Tuesday. Freedom erodes through tiny restrictions you barely notice until they pile up like pebbles in your shoe, and by then the contract makes leaving expensive. Protect your autonomy today. It remains absolutely priceless tomorrow. Practical steps to keep control start by listing the daily routines you value most. Morning coffee on the balcony, spontaneous phone chats with grandchildren, evening strolls. During your facility tours, match each habit against the home's timetable. If a rule conflicts, ask whether exceptions are possible and get any promise in writing. Next, scrutinize resident handbooks for clauses about leaving campus, hosting visitors, or redecorating your suite. My friend Harold negotiated for a mini herb garden on his windowsill before moving and saved himself months of paperwork later. Remember, you are a paying client, not a tolerated guest. Courteous persistence often turns a no into a maybe and sometimes into a yes. Finally, build an outside support circle, relatives, church friends, or a local volunteer buddy who can advocate if management attitudes change. Independence is not just physical. It is also the confidence that someone will speak up when you cannot. As you prepare, keep a simple notebook. Write every question, copy each answer, and log the name of the staff member who spoke. That record becomes evidence if conditions deviate from promises. Use state inspection reports to compare violation histories and share them with relatives so they understand priorities. A bit of paperwork today can spare frustration tomorrow, and it reinforces that your voice remains the loudest in this story all along the way. Hidden Danger 2. Surprise fees that drain savings. Most of us budget the monthly room rate and feel secure, but nursing homes have mastered the art of extras that quietly snowball. My initial contract quoted $3,000 for lodging and standard care. First month seemed fine. In the second, I needed antibiotic eye drops. The nurse brought a small vial, smiling kindly, and 2 weeks later, an out-of-formulary pharmacy administration fee of $78 appeared on my statement. Laundry labels torn, $10 replacement charge per dozen. Lost TV remote, $35. My friend Lucille paid a whopping $900 one quarter because her family's Sunday visits triggered a holiday guest meal service rate that nobody mentioned during the tour. These charges feel minor individually, yet over 12 months they inflated expenses by 17%, enough to cancel my annual cruise tradition. The worst part is that disputes often lead nowhere. The billing office points to a dense addendum printed in 8-point font, Initialed on move-in day when emotions ran high in vision, perhaps fogged by relief. Seniors on fixed incomes rarely recover from such unplanned leaks, and the stress of juggling bills can erode health faster than any illness. Whenever I see newcomers writing checks at the payment window, I remember that first shocking invoice and wish someone had waved a big flag. So I am waving it for you. Hidden costs may be the sharpest claws of institutional living because they squeeze your choices without leaving a bruise. Smart money moves before you sign begin by requesting a complete fee schedule. Yes, all 17 or 30 pages, and read it with a highlighter and calculator beside you. Circle anything labeled variable, as needed, or may be assessed. Add those possibilities to the base rate so you budget for the worst case, not the showroom fantasy. Next, ask the admissions director to explain which services Medicare, Medicaid, or your private plan truly covers. Get those answers by email so they are traceable. My neighbor Ken saved over $3,000 yearly because he insisted on using his own preferred pharmacy, right allowed by state law, but rarely advertised. Also, set a monthly alert on your bank account that pings when withdrawals exceed the agreed amount. An early warning lets you dispute errors while memories are fresh. Finally, meet with a trusted family member or financial advisor and draft a care contract checklist, a simple sheet listing every promised amenity and its stated price. Bring that checklist to quarterly billing meetings and tick off each box. Administrators treat organized residents like auditors in comfortable shoes, and surprise charges mysteriously fade. Remember, protecting your wallet today safeguards your ability to fund future adventures, whether that means Christmas flights to see grandchildren or simply choosing a better view next time you move. So approach money talks the way pilots approach pre-flight checklists, patiently, publicly, and without skipping a single line, because the only turbulence senior budgets can afford is the kind you foresee early. Hidden danger 3. Isolation in the middle of a crowd. You might picture lively bingo halls and afternoon sing-alongs, yet many residents spend entire days watching muted televisions alone. I learned this after befriending Marco, a retired postman who once knew every family on his neighborhood route. One Monday, I noticed him eating lunch at a corner table, head down, the silverware untouched. He confessed that staff had moved him to a different wing after a maintenance leak, separating him from the 3 friends who shared Italian jokes at breakfast. The change seemed minor on the floor plan, but carved a canyon in his routine. Over the next month, Marco's cheerful anecdotes shrank, replaced by long silences. A visiting granddaughter asked why he rarely answered her texts. He replied, "I'm tired of saying I'm fine when I'm not." Research shows loneliness can raise the risk of heart disease as much as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Yet institutional schedules rarely prioritize real friendship over logistics. Watching Marco retreat reminded me that community is more than proximity. It is the right combination of familiar faces, chosen activities, and privacy to deepen conversations. If that balance is disrupted, the calendar can feel like a conveyor belt moving bodies from room to room without ever touching hearts. The buildings are large enough to house hundreds, yet a single hallway shuffle can exile someone emotionally. Remember, belonging is fragile, and its fracture often goes unnoticed until health metrics slide into preventable decline later. Building real connections before and after move-in begin by mapping your personal social essentials. People who energize you, hobbies that spark conversation, worship gatherings that lift the spirit. Ask prospective homes how they facilitate each one, not just generically but in practice. For instance, do they schedule transport to your church at times, matching the service, or merely offer a blanket shuttle on Tuesday afternoons? My cousin Sophie, an avid quilter, negotiated for a dedicated craft corner near a sunny window, then posted a sign inviting other stitchers at 2 o'clock Wednesdays. Within a month, the lounge echoed with laughter and fabric tales, and management proudly listed the group in its newsletter. The magic wasn't management. It was Sophie's initiative combined with institutional permission. Equip yourself likewise. Arrive with a starter kit, a deck of cards, devotional booklet, or garden seed packets, whatever activity you are willing to host. Next, set regular video call appointments with friends outside the facility. Sharing the link on your calendar turns online visits into immovable social anchors. Finally, identify a resident representative council and attend the first meeting possible. These councils influence activity budgets. Adding one well-voiced suggestion can shape schedules for dozens of neighbors. When you step in as both participant and builder, isolation stands little chance. And remember, friendships thrive on anticipation. So place a small whiteboard outside your door listing the day's fun event. Even curious passersby might join, transforming casual hallway nods into comfortable evening chats over tea and grow into lasting support. Hidden Danger 4, revolving door staff and shifting standards. Quality care hinges not only on policies, but on the people who carry them out day after day. During my first year, I counted 16 different certified nursing assistants assigned to my corridor. Each caregiver meant well, yet every new face required fresh explanations about my arthritis routines, my no-salt diet, and my preference for waking slowly to classical music rather than fluorescent lights. One morning, Millie, a kind trainee, attempted to lift me from bed without realizing that my right knee locks unpredictably. We both ended up on the floor. No injuries, thank heaven, but the scare lingered. Later, I learned that the facility's turnover rate was 42%, fueled by low wages and rotating agency staff. My neighbor Ellie developed a painful rash after a med pass error by an aide who had been on the job 3 days. When Ellie's daughter requested the incident report, management replied with boilerplate apologies and promised retraining sessions, yet the aide disappeared by the next week. These episodes erode trust. Constant introductions make it feel less like a home and more like a busy transit station where residents are the luggage shuffled between temporary handlers. Consistency is the invisible backbone of elder care. Without it, even small tasks, like timing blood pressure pills, become dice rolls. Whenever a familiar aide returned after weeks away, I felt my shoulders unclench, realizing how much tension I carried while teaching yet another stranger the rhythms of my body each dawn. Ensuring steady care teams before move-in. Ask for the facility's most recent annual turnover percentage and compare it to the national average, which hovers around 35%. Numbers higher than that warrant deeper probing. Request to meet the unit manager. Longevity in that role often predicts staff stability underneath. During the interview, note whether nurses greet residents by name or glance awkwardly at wristbands. That small observation reveals institutional memory on the floor. My friend George secured consistent support by adding a clause to his contract stating that any change in primary caregiver must be communicated 48 hours in advance. It sounded bold, but administrators accepted after he reminded them that predictable handoffs reduce liability. You could do likewise. In addition, keep a personal care card taped near your bed with concise instructions about allergies, mobility limits, and calming music preferences. Rotating staff will silently thank you, and errors drop. Finally, cultivate rapport. Learn aides' names, celebrate their birthdays with a cupcake, and report good service to supervisors in writing. Positive feedback strengthens employment records, encouraging management to retain the professionals you trust. If turnover remains stubbornly high, schedule quarterly meetings with the Director of Nursing to review staffing plans and voice concerns. Chronic gaps often indicate deeper financial issues, and it is wiser to relocate early than risk inconsistent medication or delayed assistance when seconds matter most for vulnerable residents like you. By blending firm expectations with genuine appreciation, you create an environment where caregivers feel valued and valued workers stay. Hidden Danger 5. Declining health from hidden inactivity. Nursing homes advertise exercise classes, yet actual daily movement can dwindle to a slow shuffle between bed, dining hall, and lounge chair. I realized this when my smartwatch, a gift from my grandson, beeped an alert. Only 800 steps by sunset, far below the 5,000 I averaged living in my small bungalow. Reduced motion soon stiffened my hips. Climbing the therapy stair during cardiology checkups felt like mounting Everest. Mrs. Patel, a spirited former dance teacher, shared that her blood sugar spiked because she spent mornings waiting for staff help to locate her sneakers. One afternoon she whispered, "The couch is swallowing my muscles." Scientific studies confirm her fear. Just 2 weeks of limited walking can slash lower body strength by 20% in older adults. Facilities often struggle with staffing ratios, so optional fitness sessions get canceled when someone calls in sick, and that lost hour rarely returns to the schedule. Sedentary creep is stealthy. It feels like rest, but it robs tomorrow's balance. When mobility declines, independence follows. Falls become more likely, hospital stays longer, and immune systems weaker. I watched Mr. Alvarez, once proud of his morning push UPS, move to a wheelchair within 6 months largely because his hallway was deemed too narrow for safe, unsupervised walking. He told me I didn't lose my strength. It was confiscated by caution. That sentiment echoes across facilities where risk management quietly outranks rehabilitation and the spirit dims accordingly, slowly. Taking charge of your movement first. Measure baseline activity with a wearable pedometer or smartphone app for 1 normal week at home. That number becomes your personal benchmark inside the facility. During tours, visit the rehab gym and ask how many hours it stays open unsupervised. If access is limited, negotiate keycard entry or establish an agreement for escorted outdoor walks. My neighbor Clara persuaded management to install a wall-mounted ballet bar in an unused alcove by showing them fall reduction statistics from simple balance drills. Bring your own resistance bands and tape a printed routine on the wardrobe door. Seeing the schedule nudges you to stand up. Enlist a move buddy on your floor. Meeting someone at 10 a.m. daily for hallway laps turns exercise into social commitment. Also, mark activity appointments on the main whiteboard at reception. Public plans prompt friendly reminders from staff and create indirect accountability. Ask the dietitian to coordinate protein-rich snacks after workouts. Fueling muscles matters as much as using them. Finally, request quarterly mobility assessments with physical therapy staff and track improvements or declines in a notebook. If metrics slide, you will have evidence to justify additional sessions or a care plan overhaul. And when the calendar fills with appointments, guard those movement windows like gold. Decline non-urgent meetings, switch haircuts to afternoons, and kindly remind visitors that walks are welcome to join, but never to replace the walk itself, because your heart and strength depend on consistency. Remember, motion today writes the script for tomorrow's vigor. We have walked through 5 hidden dangers: eroding independence, surprise fees, silent isolation, revolving staff, and stealthy inactivity. Perhaps one of them echoed your private concern. Perhaps all 5 rang like church bells. Remember, the purpose of shining this light is not to scare, but to empower. Knowledge gives you leverage when reading contracts, courage when negotiating policies, and clarity when deciding whether to move at all. If you ultimately choose a nursing home, choose with eyes wide open and a toolkit of questions ready. If you stay in your own house, borrow these lessons anyway. Guard your autonomy, budget honestly, cultivate friendships, value consistent helpers, and keep your body moving. At 86, I believe the most dangerous thing is passive acceptance. Life's later chapters can still hold adventure, but only for the author who edits every page. So grab a pen, write the story you deserve, one deliberate choice at a time. I hope these insights guide your path and spark conversations with family today. If this video helped you or someone you love, please tap the like button, share it with friends who might be weighing senior living options, and subscribe for more wisdom every week. And don't forget to ring the small notification bell so you never miss fresh guidance tailored for vibrant seniors across America. Together we can build a community where age is a badge of stories, not a limit on possibilities. Thank you for being part of this journey today.